Now, the return of Bangladesh Nationalist Party to power in Bangladesh has revived Dhaka's demand for the extradition of ousted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina from India, posing a delicate diplomatic challenge for New Delhi. Following the BNP's landslide win in the first general election since the 2024 uprising, senior leader Salahuddin Ahmed said that the new government would actively pursue Hasina's return to stand trial. Meanwhile, Hasina has strongly rejected the legitimacy of the recent elections. In a statement, she described the polls as a disgraceful chapter in Bangladesh's history and called for the resignation of Mohammad Yunus, alleging widespread administrative manipulation and numerical fraud. The former Prime Minister claimed that the official figures do not reflect the true level of public participation, further deepening the political fault lines in the country. Now, in a conversation with CNN News 18's Pallavi Ghosh, Foreign Affairs Advisor to Tariq Rahman Humayun Kabir said Bangladesh is seeking a reset in ties with India, but stressed that New Delhi must understand public sentiment over Sheikh Hasina being sheltered there. Listen to this.
The Sheikh Hasina factor, how important is that to improving India-Bangladesh ties?
Of course, it is important. There's a strong sentiment that carries in, amongst the people of Bangladesh. Because if you look back at the rogue Sheikh Hasina regime of the last 15 years, what we saw was a relationship between the government of India and Sheikh Hasina, not between the people of India or the government, not the people of India and people of Bangladesh. It was exclusively between the government of India and Sheikh Hasina. And Sheikh Hasina somewhat used India to provide a veil for all her crimes that she committed in Bangladesh, taking India's name as the principal sponsor of those crimes. So, it is natural that the perception would be high among the people of Bangladesh. It has propelled serious hatred. So, for us to turn down the temperature a bit, in terms of people's sentiment, we need to see a reset in Indian foreign relations with Bangladesh, and must see realization in that reset that India, has to reset by realizing that.
So would you ask for India to send her back?
India must realize that Sheikh Hasina Amlik doesn't exist in Bangladesh anymore. So they must reset their foreign policy in that way. Sheikh Hasina, we have left to the transparent judicial and legal system of Bangladesh, legal process of Bangladesh. So we will leave it to the judicial process and the legal process of Bangladesh to deal with Sheikh Hasina, Sheikh Hasina's crimes and other criminals from Awami League that have committed crimes. And India, of course, the legal and judicial process of Bangladesh, when it demands the return of Sheikh Hasina in a transparent way, that approach will always be applied. However, in that reset, if the mindset of the government of India changes in the sense that they realize that, then our mindset will also have some cooperation on that front. We have to, the India sovereign space must not be allowed to be used by a terrorist like Sheikh Hasina to destabilize Bangladesh. If India is complicit with that, then it's difficult. If they restrain that and realize that Sheikh Hasina and Awami League doesn't exist, then we can have positive cooperation and development of that cooperation going forward.
Mr. Kabir, would you make a request formally to India to send Sheikh Hasina back?
As with the judicial process, with any criminal, with any terrorist that flees a country, naturally, the request will be made through the judicial process of Bangladesh.
You know what, Mr. Kabir, there is a concern maybe that if she comes back here, her security could be compromised, there could be a threat to her security. If India raises this concern, you think it's going to have an impact on the India-Bangladesh ties?
I mean, it's absurd to make a claim that her security will be compromised. This is a person who has killed 1,500 people. If she comes here, she'll be in prison, where she belongs, and the implementation of her sentences as per the guidance of the judicial system of this country. Sheikh Hasina will be dealt through a transparent judicial process in Bangladesh, it is important that India restrains a terrorist like her in trying to destabilize Bangladesh, then we can move on to positive, in developing positive relations and cooperation.
All right, CNN News 18 also spoke with Tariq Rahman's advisor, Mehdi Amin, who says BNP is committed to protecting the rights of all Bangladeshis regardless of religion and ensuring unity and safety for minority communities. Listen to this.
A lot of talk on attacks on the minorities. Do you think that's an issue which you would want to address now that you're forming the government?
Yes, absolutely. If you see, there has been significant misinformation and disinformation about treatment of minority in Bangladesh. Fact remains, when it comes to BNP, our political ideology is Bangladeshi nationalism, which means every individual, irrespective of who we are, what religion we belong to, what faith or ideology we hold, we must ensure the rights and freedoms remain the same for all Bangladeshis. Based on that, if you see after 5th August, when there is this fall of Sheikh Hasina, there is no government for a long time. The next interim government took oath on 8th August, so no government for 3 days. There is no law enforcement agency for months. That was the case. It was BNP, under the leadership of Mr. Tariq Rahman, who called for unity and cohesion, and all our leaders and activists were on the ground, supporting and working shoulder to shoulder with minority communities, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, all together to protect and safeguard the houses, workplaces, worships, temples of every Bangladeshi. And I believe that should be the spirit of democratic Bangladesh, where BNP will and must ensure and safeguard, protect all Bangladeshis, including whatever community you talk about. We don't believe in majority minority. I have to be very frank. I think every Bangladeshi deserves the same rights. That's the politics that our leader, Mr. Tariq Rahman, wants to convey.
And one of the first congratulatory messages came in from our Prime Minister. And we also know that we had sent our External Affairs Minister for the Janaza of Begum Khalida Zia. What next for India-Bangladesh ties? Would you want to improve the ties with India, of course?
Absolutely, why not? India and any other country in the neighbor is very important. Honorable Prime Minister played an instrumental role, gracious presence of Honorable Foreign Minister. Of course, that means a lot to the people of Bangladesh, because Begum Khalida Zia was not just a BNP leader, she became the leader of entire Bangladesh, and the gracious presence and support from India at that critical time resonates the aspiration of Bangladesh. We believe it will be reciprocal. We want to forge people-to-people connectivity. We want to ensure that the relations between the two countries thrive based on equality, fairness, and justice, and we work side by side, develop the region shoulder to shoulder on bilateral and multilateral levels.
But the growing proximity or perceived proximity of China and Pakistan to Bangladesh will always be an area of concern for India because of the terror acts, for example, Pakistan versus India. How would you balance that?
See, if we have the right intention, a commitment to ensure that it works for the stakeholders and it's mutually benefit, and it's, of course, done so that all the countries' interests are protected as per the sentiment of the people of Bangladesh, I think we can definitely manage that. Because whether it's enhancement of trade and business, whether it's forging people-to-people ties, whether it's ensuring regional security, of course, dealing with all the terrorism-related things, I think if we talk about people's aspirations, everyone wants peace, everyone is against violence, everyone wants coexistence, everyone wants democracy. And BNP being elected with such a large mandate will ensure that we do our very best to safeguard the interest of the wider region and the global village as part of that, as a responsible stakeholder.